My name is Susan Gage. I'm the Executive Director of the Early Learning Coalition of Northwest Florida, and I've been here for about 16 years now.
I'm Chelsea Renew, and I am the Procurement and Grant Manager for the Early Learning Coalition. Our team, the Finance Department, provides support to all teams within the organization. Another role that the Finance Department plays is grant management. This is not only the management of current grants that we have for the organization, but also trying to secure additional funding to meet the missions of the coalition. One of the most rewarding points of my position is the ability to work across multiple teams. So I am able to bridge the gap between finance, which is compliance and money, and then also the program team, which is helping our families, our providers, and children to have healthy growth within our communities.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Holmes, and I'm the Education Services Director at the Early Learning Coalition of Northwest Florida. I have been with the organization for 5 years now.
Hi, I'm Donna Carnley. I am the Child Services Director here at Early Learning Coalition Northwest Florida. I have been in the coalition for 16 years. In 2022, January of this year, we actually merged Help Me Grow and Inclusion Services under the Child Services Department, recognizing that Help Me Grow is very much a part of Child Services.
Hello, my name is Emily Luna, and I am the Inclusion Manager for Early Learning Coalition Northwest Florida. I have been with the coalition for 3 years.
My name is Alyssa Gray. I am the Help Me Grow Program Manager with the Early Learning Coalition of Northwest Florida. I oversee the Help Me Grow program and our specialists, and I was brought on to the Early Learning Coalition in 2020, right before we launched Help Me Grow.
I'm Jan Jones. I am with the Early Learning Coalition of Northwest Florida. I'm the Help Me Grow program specialist. And being a specialist within Help Me Grow is multiple duties. We care coordinate, follow-up, outreach, events, screenings, and just dab in anything that is needed to be done within the coalition.
My name is Tiffany Cohen, and I am a Help Me Grow program specialist with the Early Learning Coalition of Northwest Florida. I do referral and resource, as well as care coordination and follow-up.
Northwest Florida is the area of the state that is not quite the peninsula. We're west of Tallahassee in the central time zone. We are very, very rural. Geographically, we're a huge coalition, but population-wise, we're very, very small. And everybody here is so diverse. We have people that work in the tourism industry down on the beaches and families who run their own farms in the more rural, spread out communities.
Northwest Florida has been my life. I love living here, and I love the people that I consider friends and family, and I love the community and how quick we are to respond to help each other.
Northwest Florida is, to me, defined as a very resilient group of communities. They're all different, all diverse. You see a little bit of everything, and every family is different. But they always greet you with that southerly smile and shake your hand.
I found out about Help Me Grow, I think it was in 2018. I was at a conference called the First 1,000 Days in West Palm Beach or someplace like that. And we were going around and looking at the different vendors that had set up. And I had said with one of the people I was with, I wish we had something like that in our area. Why is it that always the bigger places get these really cool programs? And so I just kind of filed it in the back of my head and was always trying to figure out how could we bring Help Me Grow to Northwest Florida, and had talked to the state coordinating group, and they'd always say, well, put in a request. If we get additional funding, then perhaps we can start a new program. But that never came. So it was just always something that I wanted to bring to our area the first time I saw it. Help Me Grow is important to me because I see the potential that it can do for our community. I see it acting like a gap filler. In an area like ours, we don't have a lot of agencies or organizations that provide the same services that Help Me Grow does. So I see it as the bridge, if you will, between the family and the child's needs and actually getting the children the services that they possibly will benefit from.
After Hurricane Michael hit, our leader, Susan, went in search of some kind of support or programming that we could bring to the area to help with recovery. So Help Me Grow obviously was one of those elements that we just knew had to come here so we could fill that gap for families that were missing certain pieces that were helping their family get back on their feet.
Help Me Grow is very important, not just to me, but to this community. There are families everywhere that are in need of help and have no idea where to find it. The resources that Help Me Grow brings to this community is very important to families, children, and the coalition as well.
My favorite part of Help Me Grow are the outreach events and screening events. You get to meet the families within the communities and be part of their life for a moment, and you always make a difference when you meet them.
The connection to services and the feeling of helping someone when they contact us and say, I couldn't have gotten this done without you. And the connection that we have with the families in the communities when we see them out in our outreach events.
On Wednesday, October 10th, 2018, the fourth largest hurricane in U.S. history made landfall in the Florida Panhandle.
Hurricane Michael was a Category 5 hurricane that hit us back in the fall of 2018. It totally devastated the area that we serve. I've lived in the South all my life. I've been through hurricanes before, have never been through anything like this. We went to bed one night, woke up, and life as we knew it was completely different. And I'm a kind of an old lady, and you can imagine if I felt that way, how young children felt and how their families must have felt.
So the thing about Hurricane Michael is that our community was already lacking in resources before it hit. And then it made landfall on October the 10th and was like nothing any of us had ever experienced. If you've never been through a hurricane before, most people expect a lot of flooding to occur. But for us, it was a lot like being in a tornado for 6 hours straight. My family sheltered in place and we were in the direct line of the storm. We had small breaks between bad and worse, but overall it was a very traumatizing experience. My children at the time were only 4 and 5 years old, and we had to make the absolute best of a bad situation. And that's kind of that air of resilience that we were looking for, and we wanted to keep that spirit alive, and that's why we brought Help Me Grow here.
People come together when they had nothing. Their last bottle of water they were willing to give away. They were willing to give away towels. They were willing to give away bags of food. Our refrigerators, we lost everything in our refrigerators, so we just all grilled out, or many of us grilled out and cooked over grills and gas cookers to make sure the food didn't perish. And many people that come in to help us from other states, they didn't have food either. So the opportunity for us to give back even in the early days, in the early moments of Hurricane Michael was there, because we were cleaning out our refrigerators and giving it out to the workers, the people that were working on the electric poles and the ones that were trying to restore just help and telephone services.
Hurricane Michael was a lot. We left that morning and decided to come home immediately following its passing. And a 5-hour journey turned into a 14-hour journey, trying to cut down trees to make it back to our home, driving through the ditches of main highways, and just so much of the community, everybody stopping and helping one another get out of the ditch and get home. And when we made it home, just everybody immediately grabbing their tractors and going and helping other people into their homes after. It was very different, and honestly, when our fire department had a hot dog cookout 3 days later, that was the best hot dog I had ever had, and that's one thing me and my kids talk about.
When my husband was in the Air Force, Tyndall Air Force Base was our first base. We were stationed at Tyndall in 2006. I had 2 of my children here. We were stationed here for 8 years, and we did leave before Michael hit, but it was a huge part of our lives to watch what Michael did to the area. It was very personal for us. We watched the housing on Tyndall get torn down, and we were one of the only families to live in some of the newer housing, and I still don't think it's repaired. I don't think they've repaired it yet. We just wanted to come help.
Hurricane Michael did not just devastate our county, it devastated the lives of children and families. After the hurricane, we noticed how much trauma these children were going to be living through, what it was going to be like for them to go home and see that their homes are destroyed, not understanding why mom and dad are not at work, not understanding why they could not go back to school. I actually was in my house when I lost everything, and my son had to watch it. That was the most devastating thing in the world, because at that moment, there was truly nothing I could do to protect my child other than make sure that he was bunkered down and safe. So from that, I was able to see the effects that it had on my son. My son is a teenager, so I could only imagine what it was going to be like for younger children. That is when I decided to come work for the coalition, because I understood their calling for mental health and bringing the awareness and helping families deal with the trauma that we have dealt with. So 2018, we had Hurricane Michael hit. 2019, I actually started working for the coalition to help provide services to families and children. In 2020, while we were actually out in the field getting these services started, COVID happened. So on top of helping the children with the traumas of dealing with Hurricane Michael, now we have a pandemic. People are being devastated left and right. Yes, it might not be their homes, but now you're talking about family members. Little children are not understanding why a family member that was perfectly fine 2 weeks ago is now on life support and not being able to come home and possibly never seeing them again. Not even with just children, it was also the adults. And even within the coalition, we had families that have lost family members, and it was very devastating. Okay. And from seeing the trauma that we had from Michael, and now the traumas that we had from the pandemic, we knew instantly we needed to help not only children, but their families, and also our coalition staff through this hard time. After seeing all the trauma that we were facing, it brought joy when I heard that Help Me Grow was going to come and be a part of the inclusion team. We were able to care coordinate with each other and actually provide wonderful services to families, children, and also teachers and other child care centers. I'm so grateful that Help Me Grow is now part of the coalition, because without them, I have no idea how many families we would have missed.